The keynote speaker at last week's IFAR conference in Seoul was Lyndon Barends, a strong advocate for ensuring the lifetime care of thoroughbreds is regulated in jurisdictions around the world. I caught up with Lyndon immediately after his address.
We have a lot of emphasis before racing, during racing, but we have to carry it through to after racing.
There's a lot of activism in South Africa, a lot of goodwill, a lot of care. What we need to do, though, is to harness it into one powerful coalition to try and address it. Because often you find that some good people will feel for the horse and, oh, let's do something about it, and then maybe they can sustain it for a while, and then they give up, and then the next one takes on the mantle. The challenge is to build a sustainable program, and I think the will is there. It is just for us to drive it forward as a national horse racing authority so they can have some structure and some sustainability.
And it needs to be regulated, as you say, because there are a number of people that really want to look after horses, but there are a lot of people who still just see them as a bit of a commodity.
Yeah, so we have some regulation, but we find that that's often not enough because people still buck the system, etc. So therefore it needs to be statutory in the program. Regulation is not enough, I believe. The next step I'm recommending is that we collect fees earlier on in the life of the horse and right throughout, and everyone that touches or earns from the horse. You have a jockey, you have a trainer, you have an assistant trainer, you've got an owner, you've got the punter, everyone that benefits from that horse. We need to find some way of apportioning some funding, that will be in a kitty that will be able to look after the horse. So even when emotions fail, the structure will carry it through.
And that's so important globally, isn't it? Are you having, obviously this week is a fabulous chance to talk and find out what is happening around the world. And I guess, globally there is a real understanding that is essential.
Yes, and there are a number of initiatives in various countries that's quite far advanced, and we can all learn from each other. But more than that, again, I'm saying, as a regulatory body within the IFHA, within the ARF, within us as a local authorities, that structure needs to flow through. That regulation needs to flow through. If you get my point, there's a lot of things happening across the world. But until we place the aftercare right in its rightful place, as part of the industry modus operandi, as part of the business model of the industry. In other words, the business model cannot function without it. That is what I would like to see, and that is what I think should happen. But it also takes the onus away from one person feeling the burden on his or her own. All right. So what I'm advocating is that if we all take responsibility, that horse will be cared for irrespective of where you are, or irrespective of your thoughts at that moment. It will be cared for within that system. So I think we need to have a number of channels available. It's like there's a menu for you. I'm retiring, where am I going? There must be a place to go, and I don't think there's one answer, and what I advocate is that each of those options, we partner with best practice partners and programs across the world, and we try and build a collective program where there's options and choices thereafter, and you'll see where best to fit the horse.
He's all over them into the closing stages, and our breeze is on by.
Another great speaker at the IFAR conference was Scotland's Jock Hutchison of Horseback UK, who uses thoroughbreds, many of them sourced from the retraining of racehorses, or ROR, in the UK, to work with war veterans returning to civilian life.
Right leg on, twist in, looking where you're going to go. Fantastic.
We run a charity, we've been doing it 10 years now. We've helped more than probably 1,500 people. The programs are designed to help people reconnect through leadership. Horsemanship is leadership, and so that they get a sense of taking control over their own lives again. The thoroughbred is one of the best horses you can possibly use for this process because he's highly adaptable, highly intelligent and highly sensitive. Our programs are not really about the riding, although people that attend do end up riding the horses. It's more to do with the connection that they create between the individual and the horse. It's to do with teamwork, creating a team. And the thoroughbred is particularly sensitive and therefore particularly suited to it.
And as a commander in the Royal Marines, what actually goes on, particularly in places of war. Explain how the thoroughbred can help an individual who's come back with a physical or a mental issue, having been at war.
The guys that come back, the vast majority do fine. but there is a small percentage who will experience a mental illness due to what they've experienced. That the process of getting somebody back to full health is not just a clinical process, it's about confidence and belief and helping them reconnect. By engaging with horses, you're engaging with something that is real. He requires leadership, the horse requires you to be a leader. And in doing that, as I said already, I believe that people get a sense of they can take control of their own lives again.
And horses make people happy, don't they? I mean, let's face it, it is beautiful to be around a horse. And I guess that helps, you know, not just what they're learning about handling horses, but just this beautiful, innocent sort of creature who just behaves purely by instinct.
The horse behaves depending on how the human behaves. He's a mirror. And by helping people see themselves the way that others see them, you can help them regain what they've lost due to the injury they've endured. Often people become isolated because of an injury, mental or physical or both. And this is a way of helping people reconnect to the real world, of taking charge again. There's an awful lot of medical research that backs up what we've all known as horse lovers since we were knee-high to grasshoppers. There is something profoundly therapeutic about being around a horse. For me personally, they calm me down. It's almost as if I come down 3 or 4 pegs. And this process is real, it's not just something we imagine, and the medical fraternity now recognise it. I think they're a very powerful experience by going and working with a horse, and very beneficial. And we see a massive increase in the interest of equine assisted therapy or equine assisted learning, and I expect it to grow exponentially.